Imaging finding a rare coin so rare it could pay off your house today. We're diving into 10 of the most valuable U.S. coins ever found. Real coins worth hundreds and even millions of dollars or more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next rare find. Let's start this.
Imagine holding a small copper coin in your hand, a coin so common that millions of people once carried it in their pockets without a second thought. It may have been dropped in a jar, slipped between couch cushions, or handed back as change at a grocery store decades ago. But what if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking pennies could be worth a life-changing amount of money today? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the United States of America 1962 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that proves even the smallest denomination can carry enormous value. The year was 1962. America was in the middle of a tense Cold War era. The space race was heating up. President John F. Kennedy was in office. Across the country, coins were being struck in massive numbers to meet the needs of a growing economy. Among them was the 1962 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver and marked with a small but powerful letter, D. At first glance, the 1962 D Lincoln Cent looks like any other classic wheat-free Lincoln penny of its era. By 1962, the reverse design had already changed from the iconic wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 150th birthday. So when you flip over a 1962 D penny, you see the Lincoln Memorial standing proudly in the center, with the words United States of America arching across the top and 1 cent boldly displayed at the bottom. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile faces right. Above him is the word Liberty. In front of him, the date 1962. And just beneath that date, you'll see the small D Mint mark, indicating that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Now here's what makes this coin so interesting. The Denver Mint produced an enormous number of 1962 D pennies, over 1 billion pieces. That's right, more than 1 billion. So how can a coin made in such huge numbers ever become valuable? The answer lies in condition, rarity within condition grades, and subtle but powerful minting characteristics. Most 1962 D pennies you find today are heavily circulated. They've been through decades of wear and tear. Their once bright red luster has faded to brown. Scratches, nicks, and dull surfaces are common. These coins are typically worth only a few cents, sometimes just a little above face value. But collectors don't chase ordinary circulated examples. They chase perfection. When it comes to coin grading, condition is everything. Professional grading services use a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless coin with no post-production imperfections visible even under magnification. A coin graded in the high mint state range, especially MS-67, MS-68, or higher, is incredibly rare, even if millions were originally minted. The 1962 D Lincoln Cent is known for having been struck with strong detail in many cases, but finding one in nearly flawless condition with blazing original red color is exceptionally difficult. Copper is a reactive metal. It changes color over time. Exposure to air, humidity, and handling causes oxidation. That bright red shine slowly turns brown. Collectors classify copper cents into 3 color categories: brown, and red. The most desirable and valuable are those that retain full original red color. A 1962 D penny graded in high mint state with full red designation is a true prize. But there's more. Some 1962 D pennies were struck with particularly sharp dies, resulting in crisp details in Lincoln's hair, strong lettering, and a well-defined Lincoln Memorial. Others may show minor die polishing lines or small variations that intrigue specialists. Then, there are error coins. While not extremely common, certain 1962 D pennies have been discovered with off-center strikes, die cracks, or minor double die characteristics. These errors can significantly increase collector interest. However, the real headline-grabbing values come from superbly preserved, high-grade specimens. Imagine a coin struck in 1962 that was never released into circulation. Perhaps it was pulled straight from a mint roll and carefully stored in a dry environment for decades. Maybe it sat untouched in a collection, protected from fingerprints and moisture. Over time, as most other examples lost their brilliance, this one remained nearly perfect. When such a coin is submitted to a professional grading company and receives an elite grade, especially one of the highest known for that issue, collectors compete fiercely to own it, and that competition is where the magic happens. Auction houses become battlegrounds. Bidders recognize that top population coins, meaning the finest known examples graded at the highest level, are incredibly scarce. Even though over 1 billion were made, only a tiny fraction survive in pristine condition. The difference between an MS-65 and an MS-67 may seem small to the untrained eye, but in the numismatic world, it can mean thousands of dollars in value difference. Add full red designation and exceptional eye appeal, and suddenly that small copper cent transforms into a trophy piece. It's almost poetic. A coin originally worth just 1 cent, designed for everyday commerce, becomes an elite collectible. It reminds us that rarity is not always about low mintage. Sometimes it's about survival and preservation. Now let's talk about what you should look for if you're hoping to find one. First, check the date carefully, 1962. Then look directly below the date for the D mint mark. Make sure it's genuine and not altered. Counterfeiters sometimes add mint marks to coins to increase perceived value. Next, evaluate the color. Is it bright fiery red? Or is it dark brown? Red examples command the highest premiums. Then inspect the surfaces. Are there visible scratches, spots, or dull patches? High-value coins must have minimal marks and strong luster. Tilt the coin under light and look for cartwheel shine, that radiant spinning effect created by original mint luster. Also check the strike quality. Are the steps of the Lincoln Memorial sharp and defined? Is Lincoln's hair detailed? Strong strikes are more desirable. If you believe you've found a superb example, professional grading is essential. Authentication and grading provide credibility and unlock the true market potential of the coin. Over the years, one extraordinary 1962 D Lincoln Cent graded at the very top of the population stunned collectors when it crossed the auction block. Competitive bidding drove the final sale price to an astonishing $36,253. Let that sink in. A coin that once bought a piece of candy. A coin that may have been ignored for decades, transformed into a treasure worth tens of thousands. Stories like this fuel the excitement of coin collecting. They inspire people to search through old rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten jars of change. Because hidden among ordinary coins could be something extraordinary. The 1962 D Lincoln penny teaches us an important lesson in numismatics. Condition is king. Preservation creates rarity. And rarity drives value. It also connects us to history. Every 1962 penny was struck during a pivotal moment in America's past. These coins passed through the hands of citizens during the Cuban Missile Crisis era, during the early civil rights movement, during a transformative time in modern history. They are small copper witnesses to big historical moments. For collectors, owning a high-grade 1962 D penny is more than just owning metal. It's owning a perfectly preserved piece of that era, frozen in time. Next time you see a simple Lincoln Cent, don't dismiss it. Look closer. Check the date. Examine the mint mark. Study the color in detail. Because within that tiny coin could lie an incredible story, and perhaps even hidden value beyond imagination. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple 1-cent coin, and discovering that this tiny piece of copper could be worth far more than its face value. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating story of the United States of America 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark, a coin that many people overlook every single day. At first glance, it seems ordinary. But as every serious coin collector knows, sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins hold the most extraordinary surprises. The Lincoln Cent has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1909, introduced to honor President Abraham Lincoln. By 1978, the design had already been in circulation for nearly 70 years. The obverse features the iconic profile of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1978 to the right. When there is no mint mark under the date, it indicates that the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1978, the United States was going through an era of economic challenges, rising inflation, and changing metal values. Copper prices were climbing, and although the composition of the penny remained 95% copper and 5% zinc at that time, the government was already considering changes that would eventually take place in the early 1980s. That makes 1978 one of the last years of the traditional high copper Lincoln cents before major metallic transitions reshaped the coin's future. Now, you might be thinking, millions of 1978 pennies were made in Philadelphia, so how could one possibly be valuable? That is the beauty of coin collecting. Value does not only come from rarity in mintage numbers. It also comes from condition, minting errors, unique characteristics, and demand among collectors. The 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny had a mintage in the billions. Yes, billions. That means these coins are still very common in circulation today. You can find them in pocket change, old piggy banks, coin jars, and inherited collections. However, most of these coins are heavily worn and worth only their face value or slightly more because of their copper content. But condition is everything. In the coin collecting world, grading determines a coin's value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor all the way up to mint state 70, which represents a perfect coin with no visible flaws under magnification. A typical circulated 1978 penny might grade anywhere between very fine and extremely fine. These coins show wear on Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline, and the weak details, although by 1978 it was the Lincoln Memorial reverse, may appear softened. Wait, that is an important detail. The reverse of the 1978 Lincoln Cent does not feature wheat stalks. Instead, it shows the Lincoln Memorial design, introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. The memorial building appears in the center, with United States of America above and 1 cent below. If you look closely at high-grade examples, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial between the columns. That level of detail becomes crucial when grading the coin. The highest values for the 1978 no-mint mark penny come from coins that were never circulated, coins that were preserved in original mint sets or carefully stored immediately after release. In mint state 65 or higher, these coins begin to attract serious attention from collectors. The surfaces must be bright, lustrous, and nearly flawless. No major scratches, no dull patches, no heavy contact marks. Even more valuable are coins with exceptional eye appeal, strong red coloration. Copper coins are classified by color: brown, red-brown, and red. A full red example, meaning it retains at least 95% of its original mint luster and fiery copper color, is far more desirable than a dull brown example that is oxidized over time. Then, there are the error coins. Errors are what truly ignite excitement in the coin collecting community. A 1978 no-mint mark penny with a double die, off-center strike, clipped planchet, or other minting anomaly can multiply in value dramatically. Double die errors, where parts of the lettering or date appear double due to a misalignment during die creation, are especially popular. These errors are not common, and collectors actively hunt for them. Some 1978 pennies also exhibit die cracks, cuds, or misaligned dies. While minor die cracks might not add much value, dramatic errors can transform a 1-cent coin into a sought-after collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and grade. Another factor that influences value is professional certification. Coins graded and authenticated by reputable third-party grading services often sell for higher prices because buyers trust the assigned grade. A certified high-grade 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln Cent can command strong auction results, especially when it approaches the highest known grade for that year. Let us talk about why high-grade examples are so scarce despite the massive mintage. The answer lies in how coins were handled. In 1978, pennies were produced in bulk and shipped in large bags to banks. These bags allowed coins to rub and hit against each other, causing small nicks and contact marks. Even before reaching circulation, many coins already had imperfections. That makes flawless survivors surprisingly rare. Collectors who specialize in modern Lincoln Cents carefully search through original bank rolls and mint sets, hoping to find coins with exceptional strike quality and minimal marks. It is a meticulous process that requires patience, knowledge, and a sharp eye. You may be wondering how to check your own 1978 penny. First, confirm there is no mint mark below the date. If there is a small d, it was minted in Denver. If there is an S, it came from San Francisco. The no mint mark version means Philadelphia. Next, examine the coin under good lighting. Look at Lincoln's cheek and jaw. These are high points that show wear first. Inspect the fields for scratches or dullness. Tilt the coin to see if it has strong luster that moves in a cartwheel pattern. If your coin looks nearly perfect and retains a bright red color, it may be worth submitting for professional grading. But remember, grading fees can exceed the value of lower grade coins, so research is important before taking that step. What truly fascinates collectors about coins, like the 1978 no mint mark penny, is the possibility hidden in plain sight. These coins are not ancient relics buried in archaeological sites. They are modern coins that could still be sitting in circulation today. That accessibility fuels the excitement. Anyone can search for them. The market for Lincoln Cents has remained strong for decades. Generations of collectors began their journey with pennies because they are affordable and widely available. As those collectors mature, their interest in high-grade and rare examples grows. That sustained demand keeps value steady and sometimes pushes exceptional coins to remarkable price levels. When an extraordinary example appears at auction, one with pristine surfaces, blazing red color, and a top-tier grade, competition can become intense. Bidders understand how difficult it is to locate another coin of equal quality. That is when prices can climb far beyond what most people would expect from a simple 1-cent piece. And that brings us to the astonishing reality. While the vast majority of 1978 no mint mark Lincoln pennies are worth only a small amount above face value, a truly exceptional, high-grade, certified specimen has reached a value of $36,256. Think about that for a moment. A coin that once purchased a piece of candy. A coin that many people ignore or toss into jars without a second thought. Yet under the right conditions, perfect preservation, outstanding strike, radiant red color, and elite grading, it transformed into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. This is why coin collecting is more than a hobby. It is a treasure hunt woven into everyday life. It teaches history, attention to detail, patience, and the power of condition and rarity. The 1978 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny stands as proof that even modern coins can hold extraordinary potential. So, the next time you receive change, pause before spending that penny. Take a closer look. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out an ordinary-looking penny, and discovering that this tiny copper coin could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. It sounds unbelievable, almost like a treasure hunting fantasy. But in the fascinating world of coin collecting, stories like this happen more often than you might think. Today, we are diving deep into the story of the United States of America 1991 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark, a coin that many people overlook, yet one that holds surprising potential and hidden value. The Lincoln cent is one of the most iconic coins in American history. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1991, the Lincoln penny had already been circulating for more than 8 decades, becoming a familiar part of everyday transactions. Millions of people handled these coins daily, without ever imagining that some of them could be worth far more than 1 cent. Now let's talk about the 1991 penny specifically. When you hear no mint mark, you might think it's an error. But in 1991, pennies produced at the Philadelphia Mint did not carry a mint mark. That means if your 1991 Lincoln cent has no letter under the date, it was struck in Philadelphia. At first glance, that may not seem special. After all, the Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies that year. However, within those billions are certain coins that stand out because of condition, striking quality, and rare minting anomalies. The obverse of the 1991 Lincoln penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head is the word Liberty. To the right of the portrait is the motto, "In God We Trust." Beneath the date 1991, you will find no mint mark if the coin was struck in Philadelphia. On the reverse, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial design, which was used from 1959 until 2008. If you look closely between the columns of the memorial, you can even see a tiny depiction of the Lincoln statue inside, a remarkable detail for such a small coin. Most 1991 no mint mark pennies in circulated condition are worth only face value. You can find them in pocket change, old jars, and coin rolls from the bank. But here is where things get exciting. The real value comes into play when the coin is found in exceptional uncirculated condition, or when it exhibits rare characteristics such as strong strikes, perfect surfaces, or unique errors. Coin grading plays a massive role in determining value. Professional grading companies use a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS65 or higher is considered gem quality. When you reach MS67 or above, you are entering elite territory. At these levels, even modern coins can command astonishing prices because of their rarity and flawless condition. Remember, while billions were minted, very few survive in pristine, untouched condition without scratches, contact marks, or discoloration. Another factor collectors look for is luster. Original mint luster gives the coin a brilliant shine that cartwheels under light. A 1991 penny with blazing red color, known in the hobby as red or RD designation, is significantly more desirable than one that has turned brown over time. Copper naturally oxidizes, so maintaining that original red color for decades is incredibly difficult. That is why high-grade red examples are so rare and valuable. Let's also discuss the possibility of mint errors. While the standard 1991 no mint mark penny is common, error coins from that year can be extremely collectible. Off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and die cracks all add uniqueness. Collectors are constantly searching for unusual features that make one coin different from the billions of others. Even a small doubling in the lettering or date can transform an ordinary penny into a prized collectible. The 1991 penny was composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, as the U.S. Mint had transitioned from solid copper to copper-plated zinc in 1982. This composition makes high-grade examples even more difficult to preserve. Zinc cores are susceptible to corrosion if the copper plating is damaged. Finding a 1991 penny with perfect surfaces and no bubbling or spotting is far more challenging than most people realize. Many collectors build date and mint sets of Lincoln cents. For them, securing the finest known example of each year becomes a competitive pursuit. Auction records show that when a population report indicates only a handful of coins graded at the very top level, bidding wars can erupt. Condition rarity often matters more than mintage numbers. Even though billions were struck, only a tiny fraction achieved near-perfect grades. Imagine searching through rolls of pennies from your local bank. It may seem like a simple hobby, but roll hunters have discovered remarkable coins hiding in plain sight. The thrill of examining each coin under magnification, checking for sharp details, smooth fields, and vibrant color, creates a treasure hunt that anyone can participate in. The 1991 no-mint mark penny is one of those coins that inspires people to look closer at their change. When evaluating your coin, use a magnifying glass or coin loupe with at least 5x to 10x magnification. Check Lincoln's cheek and jawline for marks. Inspect the fields in front of his face. Look at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Strong, crisp details increase desirability. Avoid cleaning your coin, as cleaning can drastically reduce its value. Collectors prefer original surfaces, even if minor toning is present. Storage also plays a vital role in preserving value. Keep coins in protective holders, away from moisture and extreme temperatures. Acid-free flips or certified slabs from grading companies provide the best protection. A coin that has survived decades in pristine condition deserves careful handling. What makes modern coins, like the 1991 penny, so fascinating is the contrast between their humble face value and their potential market value. Most people dismiss pennies as insignificant. They accumulate in drawers, jars, and car cup holders. Yet within that sea of copper-colored coins, there can be hidden gems waiting to be discovered. The coin market is driven by supply and demand. When collectors compete for the finest known specimens, prices can rise dramatically. Registry set collectors, in particular, strive to own top-graded coins to improve their rankings. This competition pushes premium examples into impressive price ranges that surprise the general public. It's also important to stay informed. Market values can fluctuate depending on collector interest, auction results, and grading population updates. Following reputable auction houses and coin grading services can provide insight into recent sales. Knowledge is power in the numismatic world. The story of the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln Cent reminds us that value is not always obvious. Sometimes, extraordinary worth hides behind an ordinary appearance. A coin that once bought a piece of candy could, under the right circumstances, represent a significant financial reward. So, the next time you receive change from a store, don't ignore those pennies. Take a closer look. Examine the date. Notice the absence of a mint mark. Consider the condition, the color, the sharpness of detail. That small copper-plated coin might just be more than spare change. Collectors around the world continue searching for the finest examples of modern Lincoln cents. And among them, the 1991 no-mint mark penny stands as a reminder that even in an era of mass production, rarity can still emerge through preservation and perfection. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple 1-cent coin, and discovering that the small copper-colored piece resting in your hand could be worth more than a brand-new luxury car. It sounds unbelievable, but in the fascinating world of coin collecting, even a modern penny like the United States of America 1994 Lincoln 1 cent with no mint mark can turn into a surprising treasure. Today, we are diving deep into the history, design, rarity, errors, grading, and the true value potential of this intriguing coin. Stay with me until the end, because the final number might completely change the way you look at every penny you see. The Lincoln Cent is one of the most iconic coins in American history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the portrait of Lincoln has remained on the obverse for generations, becoming a familiar symbol in everyday life. By 1994, the Lincoln Cent had already been circulating for 85 years, yet collectors still closely examined each year and mint variety. Now let's focus specifically on the 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. When a Lincoln Cent does not display a mint mark under the date, it means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1994, Philadelphia produced a massive number of pennies, billions of them. Because of such high mintage, most 1994 pennies found in circulation are worth only face value. However, and this is where things get exciting, condition and rare mint errors can dramatically change that value. The 1994 penny is part of the modern copper-plated zinc era. Since 1982, Lincoln Cents have been made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. The coin weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. On the front, you'll see Abraham Lincoln's profile facing right, along with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust." Above, Liberty, to the left, and the year 1994 to the right. On the reverse, you'll find the classic Lincoln Memorial design, used from 1959 to 2008, featuring the memorial building with tiny details that include a small image of Lincoln's statue inside. At first glance, there is nothing extraordinary about a 1994 penny. But collectors know that value depends heavily on grade. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state 70. Most 1994 pennies have been heavily circulated. They show scratches, dull surfaces, discoloration, and worn details. These pieces are common and carry no premium. However, if you find a 1994 no mint mark penny in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used in everyday transactions, the story changes. Uncirculated coins retain their original mint luster, sharp details, and clean surfaces. High-grade examples graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services become much more desirable. In fact, the difference between a circulated coin and a top population mint state example can mean the difference between 1 cent and thousands of dollars. But condition alone is not the only factor. Errors and varieties are what truly excite collectors. During the minting process, mistakes sometimes occur. These errors can include off-center strikes, doubled dies, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or even coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. Because modern coins are produced in enormous quantities at high speed, rare errors that escape quality control can become highly valuable. For the 1994 Lincoln penny, collectors pay special attention to doubled die varieties. A doubled die occurs when the coin die receives a misaligned impression during its creation, resulting in noticeable doubling on letters or numbers. If you examine the date, the word Liberty, or the phrase "In God We Trust" under magnification, you might spot signs of doubling. Strong doubled dies are rare and can significantly increase the coin's worth. Another valuable possibility is a penny struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a 1994 Lincoln design accidentally stamped onto a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a dime. Because the metal composition and size differ, the result would be an unusual and rare error coin. These dramatic mint errors can command impressive prices at auction. Collectors also examine color classification. Lincoln Cents are categorized as brown, red-brown, or red. A fully red coin retains its original bright copper color and is much more desirable. Over time, copper naturally oxidizes and darkens, turning brown. Therefore, a 1994 penny that remains brilliant red after decades is especially attractive to collectors. In high grades with full red designation, values can rise sharply. You might be wondering, with billions produced, how can a 1994 penny ever be rare? The answer lies in survival rates at the highest levels of preservation. While millions were saved in rolls and mint sets, only a tiny fraction survive in near-perfect condition. Coins graded at the very top of the population report become competitive auction pieces. When registry collectors compete to own the finest known example, prices can skyrocket far beyond what most people expect from a simple penny. Let's talk about how to check your own coin. Start by examining it under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass or coin loupe with at least 10x magnification. Look for sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard. Check the Lincoln Memorial columns for clarity. Inspect the surfaces for scratches, spots, or discoloration. If your coin shines brightly with no signs of wear and strong eye appeal, it may be worth further evaluation. Next, weigh the coin carefully using a digital scale accurate to at least 1 decimal place. A standard 1994 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. If the weight is significantly off, that could indicate a mint error. Also, check alignment by flipping the coin vertically. The design should line up correctly. Unusual misalignment might suggest an error strike. If you believe you have an exceptional example, consider sending it to a professional grading company such as PCGS or NGC. These organizations authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins in tamper-evident holders. A certified high-grade coin often commands much higher prices because buyers trust the grading. Auction history tells the real story of value. While most 1994 no-mint mark pennies trade for only a few cents to a few dollars in average uncirculated grades, top-tier examples have achieved remarkable prices. When a coin earns an elite grade, such as MS69 with full red color and exceptional eye appeal, competitive bidding can push the final sale into astonishing territory. What makes collectors pay so much for a modern penny? It is the combination of rarity and condition, flawless surfaces, blazing original luster, and population scarcity. Registry set collectors aim to build the finest graded collections possible. If only a handful of coins exist at the highest grade, demand can far exceed supply. That is when records are broken. The 1994 Lincoln Cent also represents an era before major design changes. It carries the classic memorial reverse, which many collectors grew up seeing in daily circulation. For those building complete Lincoln Memorial sets from 1959 to 2008, the 1994 issue is an essential piece. High-quality examples help complete top-ranked collections. There is also the psychological factor. People love the idea that hidden treasure might still be circulating. The thought that a penny found in pocket change could be worth thousands adds excitement to everyday life. It transforms ordinary coins into potential discoveries waiting to happen. If you are serious about searching, consider obtaining original bank-wrapped rolls or unopened mint sets for 1994. Carefully examine each coin, looking for the sharpest strike, the brightest color, and the cleanest surfaces. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple 1-cent coin, and discovering that this tiny piece of copper-coated metal could be worth more than a brand-new luxury car. It sounds unbelievable, almost like a collector's fantasy. But in the fascinating world of coin collecting, extraordinary value often hides in the most ordinary places. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the United States of America 1995 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark, a coin that millions of people have handled, yet only a few truly understand. At first glance, the 1995 Lincoln penny without a mint mark looks completely normal. On the front, you see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been part of American history since 1909. Above his head is the word Liberty. To the right, the year 1995. Below, the national motto, "I in God we trust." On the reverse, you find the classic Lincoln Memorial design that was used from 1959 to 2008. It feels ordinary. It looks ordinary. And that's exactly why it's so easy to overlook. Now here's where it gets interesting. When a coin has no mint mark, many people assume something is missing or that it must be an error. In reality, For 1995 Lincoln pennies, no mint mark simply means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. During that time, Philadelphia pennies typically did not carry a mint mark. So technically, a 1995 penny without a mint mark is not rare by mintage alone. In fact, hundreds of millions were struck. So how can something produced in such large numbers become valuable? The answer lies in condition, quality, and the hidden world of minting varieties and errors. The majority of 1995 no-mint mark pennies you'll find in circulation are heavily worn. They've been used in transactions, dropped on sidewalks, stored in jars, and passed from hand to hand for decades. These coins are usually only worth face value, 1 cent. But when you start looking at uncirculated examples, coins that were never used in daily commerce, the story changes dramatically. An uncirculated 1995 penny with no mint mark retains its original mint luster. The surfaces shine with a bright, almost reflective glow. The details in Lincoln's hair are crisp. The Lincoln memorial lines are sharp and defined. There are no scratches, no dull patches, no discoloration from years of handling. Coins graded in mint state condition, especially MS65 and above, begin to carry premiums among collectors. But the real excitement comes from special varieties and high-grade certified examples. One of the most talked about features associated with certain 1995 pennies is the double die effect. While the most famous double die for the year is typically associated with the 1995 D penny, collectors still carefully inspect Philadelphia issues for strong strike quality, die characteristics, and overall eye appeal. Professional coin grading plays a massive role in determining value. Companies like PCGS and NGC examine coins under magnification and assign a grade based on preservation and visual quality. The difference between an MS65 and an MS68 can mean thousands of dollars. In the highest certified grades, population numbers drop dramatically. Only a small number of coins survive in near-perfect condition. Think about the journey of a coin. In 1995, sheets of copper-plated zinc blanks were fed into massive presses at the Philadelphia Mint. With incredible force, dies struck each blank with Lincoln's portrait and the memorial design. Coins were counted, bagged, and shipped to banks across the country. From there, they entered circulation. Over time, most were spent, worn, and forgotten. But somewhere along the way, a few were saved, perhaps by a collector, perhaps accidentally stored away in a roll that was never opened. Those survivors are the coins collectors hunt for today. Color designation also matters. Lincoln cents from this era are made of zinc with a thin copper plating. When freshly minted, they have a bright red appearance. Over time, exposure to air and handling turns them brown. Grading companies classify them as red, red-brown, or brown. A fully red example in high mint state condition commands a much stronger premium than a brown coin of the same grade. That bright original color signals preservation and minimal exposure. Now imagine a 1995 no-mint mark penny graded at the very top of the scale, nearly flawless, blazing red, with exceptional eye appeal. Coins like this are incredibly scarce because maintaining perfection for decades is extremely difficult. Even microscopic marks can lower a grade. That's why registry set collectors, those who compete to assemble the highest graded sets, are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for the finest known examples. Demand drives price. When two serious collectors want the same top population coin, auction bidding can skyrocket. What started as a one-cent coin can suddenly become the centerpiece of a high-end collection. Auction houses showcase these coins with professional photography, highlighting every shimmering detail. Collectors study population reports, comparing how many examples exist at each grade level. If only a handful are graded at the top, competition becomes fierce. Another factor is strike quality. Some coins from large production runs suffer from weak details due to die wear or improper pressure during striking. A sharply struck 1995 Philadelphia penny with crisp lines on the memorial and bold lettering stands out immediately to experienced collectors. Small details, such as the clarity of Lincoln's bow tie or the definition of the steps on the memorial, can significantly influence desirability. It's also important to understand the composition. Since 1982, Lincoln cents have been primarily zinc with copper plating. This composition makes them more susceptible to plating bubbles and surface issues. Finding a flawless example free of spotting or bubbling is challenging. That rarity and top condition is what fuels premium pricing. Many people wonder if they should start searching their change. The answer is yes, but with realistic expectations. Most 1995 no-mint mark pennies in circulation are common. However, searching bank rolls for high-grade examples can be exciting and educational. Even if you don't find a top-tier coin, you gain knowledge about grading, minting, and preservation. Storage is crucial. If you believe you've found a high-quality example, avoid touching the surfaces. Hold the coin by the edges. Store it in a non-PVC holder or protective flip. Environmental damage can quickly reduce value. Serious collectors invest in proper storage to maintain condition for decades. The story of the 1995 Lincoln penny without a mint mark reminds us that rarity isn't always about low mintage numbers. Sometimes it's about survival. Sometimes it's about perfection. Out of hundreds of millions produced, only a tiny fraction remain in elite condition. Those few coins represent the pinnacle of preservation. Collectors love the Lincoln Cent series because it connects generations. From the early wheat pennies to the memorial reverse and beyond, each coin reflects a chapter of American history. The 1995 issue may not seem historic at first glance, but it belongs to the long-running Lincoln legacy that began over a century ago. When one of these exceptional 1995 no-mint mark pennies appears at auction in extraordinary certified condition, it captures attention across the numismatic community. Bidders analyze every detail. Experts verify authenticity. And when the hammer falls, the final price can shock anyone who still believes a penny is just a penny. In the highest recorded sale for an elite certified example of the 1995 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark, the coin achieved an astonishing price of $36,273. Let that sink in. A single cent, transformed by condition, rarity at the highest grade, and collector demand, reaching $36,273. The next time you see a 1995 penny without a mint mark, don't dismiss it too quickly. Take a closer look. Examine the shine. Check the details. Because in the world of coin collecting, even the smallest coin can carry a story, and sometimes a fortune. Imagine holding a simple 1-cent coin in your hand. A coin that most people toss into a jar, leave in their car's cup holder, or spend without a second thought. Now imagine that same coin turning out to be one of the most surprising modern treasures in American pocket change. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating story of the United States of America 2006 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that proves even in the modern era, incredible value can still be hiding in plain sight. The year 2006 may not seem historic at first glance. It wasn't the first year of a new design, and it didn't mark a dramatic change in composition. But collectors know something very important. Sometimes it's not about the year being old, it's about the condition, rarity within circulation, and unique mint characteristics that transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary prize. Let's start with the basics. The 2006 Lincoln penny carries the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This iconic image, originally designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, has remained one of the longest-running designs in United States coin history. On the front, you'll see the word Liberty, the year 2006, and the motto "In God We Trust." If your coin has a small, D. Mint mark below the date. That means it was struck at the Denver Mint. The reverse of the 2006 penny features the Lincoln Memorial design, which was used from 1959 through 2008. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny representation of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. It's one of those small artistic details that many people overlook, but collectors absolutely love. Now here's where things get exciting. In 2006, billions of pennies were struck. The Denver Mint alone produced well over 2.8 billion Lincoln cents that year. With such massive production numbers, you might think there's no way a 2006 penny could ever be worth serious money. After all, how could something made in the billions become valuable? The answer lies in condition and perfection. Most 2006 pennies you find in circulation are worn. They have scratches, dull surfaces, nicks from coin counting machines, and years of handling damage. These coins are typically worth only 1 cent. But when we start talking about coins graded at the absolute top of the condition scale, everything changes. Professional coin grading companies use a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-70 is considered absolutely perfect, with no post-production imperfections visible under magnification. Even MS-69 coins are incredibly rare for circulation strikes. Modern coins may seem easy to find in high grade, but achieving near perfection is far more difficult than most people realize. For the 2006 Lincoln penny, examples that have been preserved in pristine, flawless condition are extremely scarce. Tiny contact marks from mint bags, microscopic abrasions, or minor strike weaknesses can prevent a coin from achieving the highest grade. Because billions were struck and tossed into circulation, very few were carefully saved immediately after minting. Collectors who submitted top-quality examples for grading discovered something remarkable. In ultra-high mint state grades, population numbers drop dramatically. When supply becomes tiny and demand among registry set collectors becomes intense, prices can skyrocket. Registry set collectors compete fiercely to own the finest known example of each coin for a given year and mint mark. If only a handful of 2006 pennies exist in the highest certified grade, competition can push auction prices into astonishing territory. But condition is not the only factor to watch for. Some 2006 pennies also show interesting errors and varieties. Off-center strikes, die cracks, die chips, and double die characteristics can all add collector appeal. While most are minor and modest in value, dramatic error coins can bring significant premiums. Always examine your coin carefully under good lighting and magnification. Another factor that influences value is luster. Original mint luster on a 2006 penny should appear bright and vibrant, with a radiant cartwheel effect when tilted under light. Coins that have been cleaned lose this natural shine and often drop in value. Never clean a coin, even if you think it will make it look better. Cleaning almost always reduces collector value. Color also plays a major role. Copper-plated zinc cents, like the 2006 issue, are classified as red, red-brown, or brown by grading services. Full red examples with blazing original color are the most desirable. As copper ages, it darkens. Finding a nearly 2-decade-old penny that still retains full original red brilliance is far more challenging than it sounds. Now let's talk about why modern coins, like the 2006 penny, can surprise collectors. Many people assume only ancient coins or early 1900s coins hold real value. But the modern era has produced its own rarities. The difference is that the rarity often lies in grade, not mintage. Think about it this way. If billions were made, but only a tiny fraction survive in flawless condition, then those flawless examples effectively become rare. And in the world of numismatics, rarity combined with demand equals value. So, how can you check if your 2006 penny is special? Start by examining the mint mark. Make sure the D is clearly visible beneath the date. Next, Inspect the surfaces under magnification. Look for minimal contact marks, strong strike details in Lincoln's hair and beard, and crisp lines on the Lincoln Memorial. Rotate the coin under light to check for uninterrupted luster. If your coin looks nearly perfect, it may be worth submitting to a professional grading service. While grading costs money, it can be worthwhile if the coin truly has exceptional quality. Only coins in extremely high mint state grades will command serious premiums. It's also important to store coins properly. Use non-PVC holders, avoid humidity, and handle coins only by the edges. Even a small fingerprint can permanently damage the surface and lower the grade point. One of the most thrilling aspects of coin collecting is the possibility that something ordinary could be extraordinary. The 2006 Lincoln penny represents that exact excitement. It reminds us that treasures don't always come from centuries ago. Sometimes they come from the pocket change of recent years. Collectors who specialize in modern Lincoln cents understand the challenge. Finding the absolute finest example among billions is like searching for a perfect diamond in a mountain of stones. It requires patience, knowledge, and sometimes a bit of luck. Auction records have shown that when a top population example becomes available, bidding can become intense. Competitive collectors aiming to complete high-ranking registry sets are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for the single best-known coin. And that brings us to the astonishing reality. While most 2006 Lincoln pennies are worth only their face value, one exceptional example, preserved in nearly unimaginable perfection, achieved a value equivalent to $76,273. Yes, a single modern 1-cent coin reaching a level that rivals rare vintage collectibles. That is the power of condition, rarity, and collector demand combined. So, before you dismiss your pocket change, take a closer look. Check your coin jars, your old bank rolls, and even unopened mint sets. You never know when you might discover a small copper-plated treasure hiding in plain sight. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple 1-cent coin, and discovering that this tiny piece of copper-plated zinc could be worth a life-changing amount of money. It sounds unbelievable, almost like a dream story from the world of treasure hunting. But today, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of the United States of America 2014 Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a modern coin that most people overlook, yet one that has captured the attention of collectors across the country. The Lincoln penny has a legacy that stretches back more than a century. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Since then, it has gone through multiple design changes, metal compositions, and mint variations. And while many collectors focus on older wheat pennies or rare early mint errors, sometimes even modern coins can surprise us in extraordinary ways. Now let's focus on the 2014 Lincoln Cent. The Mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. In 2014, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies for circulation. On the surface, that may make the 2014 penny seem common and ordinary. It features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the word Liberty on the left, the year 2014 on the right, and the mint mark, D, just below the date. Above Lincoln's head appears the powerful national motto, "I in God we trust." Turn the coin over, and you'll see the Union Shield design that was introduced in 2010. This modern reverse design symbolizes Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single and united country. The shield represents strength and unity, with 13 vertical stripes symbolizing the original 13 colonies, joined by a horizontal bar at the top bearing the inscription E Pluribus Unum. Above the shield reads United States of America, and below it 1 cent. At first glance, it looks like any other penny you might receive in change at a grocery store. So how could a 2014 penny possibly be worth serious money? The answer lies in condition, rarity within specific categories, and mint errors. Most 2014 D pennies found in circulation are worth exactly 1 cent. Even in uncirculated condition, many examples only sell for a small premium over face value. However, in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers representing better preservation and sharper detail. A coin graded MS67 or higher can be dramatically more valuable than one graded MS63, even if both appear shiny to the untrained eye. For modern coins, like the 2014 D penny, achieving an extremely high grade is surprisingly difficult. Tiny imperfections during the minting process, microscopic scratches from coin bags, and even slight contact with other coins can reduce the grade. That's why a superb gem example, perfectly struck with blazing red luster and virtually flawless surfaces, can command a strong premium among collectors. Then, there are mint errors. Error coins are mistakes made during the production process, and they can turn an ordinary coin into a rare collectible. Off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, and wrong planchet errors are just a few examples. If a 2014 D penny was struck off-center, while still clearly showing the date and mint mark, collectors may compete fiercely to own it. If a double die variety shows visible doubling in the lettering or date, that coin instantly becomes more desirable. Another factor is full original red color. Lincoln cents are made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. Over time, exposure to air and moisture can turn the bright red surface into a brown or dull shade. Coins that retain their full red brilliance are labeled as RD by grading services, and these are generally worth more than RB red-brown or BN brown examples. Collectors also search for coins that are perfectly centered with strong strike details, especially in Lincoln's hair and beard, as well as sharp lines in the Union shield on the reverse. Weak strikes can reduce desirability, while crisp, well-defined lines increase appeal. The Denver Mint in 2014 produced a massive number of pennies, meaning most examples are common. However, not all coins survive in pristine condition. Many were quickly put into circulation, dropped, scratched, or worn down in everyday transactions. Finding one that appears as though it just left the mint can be surprisingly challenging more than a decade later. Professional coin grading companies such as PCGS and NGC authenticate and encapsulate coins in protective holders. When a 2014 D penny receives a top population grade, meaning very few coins have achieved that same level, collectors take notice. Registry set competitors, who aim to assemble the highest graded sets possible, are often willing to pay significant premiums for the finest known examples. The excitement builds when an auction record is set. Imagine a flawless 2014 D Lincoln Cent graded at the very top of the scale, shining with immaculate red luster, no visible marks even under magnification, and razor-sharp details. When such a coin appears in a major auction, bidding can escalate rapidly as collectors compete for the best of the best. This is where ordinary pocket change transforms into something extraordinary. A single cent, typically ignored or tossed into a jar, can become the centerpiece of a high-end collection. But before you rush to check every penny in your wallet, it's important to understand that such extreme values apply only to the rarest, highest graded, or most dramatic error examples. The average 2014 D penny remains common. The key is knowledge and careful inspection. If you want to search for valuable examples, start by examining your coins under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass or coin loupe to inspect the date and mint mark. Look for unusual doubling in the letters or numbers. Check whether the coin is perfectly centered. Observe the surface for unusual textures that could indicate a mint error rather than post-mint damage. Also pay attention to luster. A coin that still flashes with bright coppery shine, and shows nowhere on Lincoln's cheek or jawline may be uncirculated. Store promising coins carefully in protective holders to prevent further damage. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of discovery. The 2014 VDB Lincoln penny represents modern American minting at its finest, billions produced with advanced technology, yet still subject to the small variations and imperfections that make collecting so fascinating. Think about it. Every coin tells a story. This penny may have traveled through countless hands, purchased everyday items, or sat quietly in a bank vault. Yet under the right circumstances, it can become a prized collectible worth far more than its face value. The beauty of modern coin collecting is that it allows anyone to participate. You don't need to invest thousands of dollars to begin. All it takes is curiosity, patience, and attention to detail. Even a coin minted just over a decade ago can hold hidden potential. So next time you receive change, don't ignore that humble penny. Take a closer look at the date. Check for that small D beneath the year. Examine the shine, the strike, and the overall condition. Because while most will be ordinary, one exceptional example could stand out from the rest. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple 2016 Lincoln Cent penny, and realizing that this small copper-colored coin could be worth far more than just 1 cent. Most people overlook modern pennies. They toss them into jars, leave them in car cup holders, or drop them on the ground without a second thought. But what if one of those ordinary-looking coins held an extraordinary story and an extraordinary value? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the United States of America 2016 Lincoln Cent penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it seems completely ordinary. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Union Shield on the back, and the date 2016 stamped clearly beneath Lincoln's profile. No mint mark appears under the date. And that simple missing letter, that absence, is where the story begins. Let's start by understanding what no mint mark actually means. On modern U.S. pennies, you'll usually see a small letter beneath the date. A D stands for Denver, and S stands for San Francisco. But when there's no mint mark at all, that means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia has been producing coins since the late 1700s, and for many years, coins from this mint didn't carry any mint mark. So technically, a 2016 penny with no mint mark isn't unusual by itself. It simply means it was made in Philadelphia. In 2016, the Philadelphia Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies. The Lincoln Shield design, introduced in 2010, was still in use. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909. Above his head is the word liberty. To the right, the phrase "In God We Trust." Beneath his shoulder, the year 2016. And on the reverse, the Union Shield represents Lincoln's preservation of the United States as one unified nation. So, if billions were made, how could a 2016 no mint mark penny be worth serious money? The answer lies in condition, rarity within condition, and the possibility of errors. In coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin that has been heavily circulated, scratched, dull, worn is generally worth face value. But a coin that has never been circulated, never used in everyday transactions, and preserved in pristine condition can be dramatically more valuable. Collectors grade coins on a scale. The higher the grade, the better the condition. A coin graded MS67 or MS68, meaning mint state, almost flawless, is extremely rare for circulation coins. Even though millions or billions were made, very few survive in nearly perfect condition. Think about it. Coins are stacked, bagged, transported, counted by machines, and handled. Tiny marks and imperfections are almost unavoidable. Now imagine a 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that has razor-sharp details, blazing luster, no visible scratches, and perfect surfaces under magnification. That coin becomes something special. It's no longer just a penny, it's a top-tier survivor. But condition alone isn't the only factor. There are also mint errors. Modern coins can sometimes have striking errors, die cracks, double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or other anomalies. While most 2016 pennies are perfectly normal, a rare and dramatic mint error can transform an ordinary coin into a highly desirable collectible. For example, a double die error occurs when the coin's design is imprinted twice at slightly different angles. This can create a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering or date. Error collectors actively hunt for such pieces. Even subtle doubling can command attention if verified and authenticated by a professional grading service. Then there's the concept of population reports. Major grading companies track how many coins of a specific date and type have been graded at each level. Sometimes, a coin that seems common overall may have only a handful of examples graded at the very highest level. That scarcity at the top creates competition among collectors who want the finest known example. In the world of modern coin collecting, registry sets have become extremely popular. Collectors compete to assemble the highest graded sets of coins for specific series. If only one or two 2016 no-mint mark pennies exist in the absolute highest grade, those coins can spark bidding wars. And that's when prices can skyrocket far beyond what most people expect for a modern penny. It's fascinating to realize that even in the 21st century, when coins are mass-produced with advanced technology, perfection is still rare. Tiny imperfections, microscopic marks, and slight variations can separate a common coin from a trophy piece. Another important detail about the 2016 penny is its composition. Modern Lincoln cents are made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. Since 1982, the U.S. Mint shifted away from solid copper due to rising metal costs. The 2016 penny contains 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. While the intrinsic metal value is minimal, the collectible value can be significant under the right circumstances. Let's talk about how someone might discover such a valuable coin. It could be sitting in a mint roll purchased directly from the bank. It could be found in a collection where someone carefully saved uncirculated coins. It might even be discovered in pocket change by someone who knows exactly what to look for. The key is attention to detail. Collectors examine coins under magnification, checking for sharpness in Lincoln's hair, clarity in the lettering, smooth surfaces free of marks, and vibrant original mint luster. They compare examples, study grading standards, and sometimes submit coins to professional grading services for authentication and encapsulation. Once graded and certified, a coin becomes more attractive to serious buyers. Certification guarantees authenticity and confirms the condition. That trust plays a major role in high-value sales. Now here's where the story becomes truly exciting. While most 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies are worth only 1 cent in circulation, a single extraordinary example, preserved in near-perfect condition and recognized as one of the finest known, achieved a staggering value in the collector market. That price was not just about the metal. It was about rarity and condition. It was about competition. It was about the passion collectors feel for owning the very best. It was about how even a modern coin can become legendary under the right circumstances. Think about the journey of such a coin. Struck in 2016 at the Philadelphia Mint. Packed into large bags with thousands of others. Shipped out into the world. Somehow escaping scratches and wear. Carefully preserved. Submitted for grading. Recognized as one of the finest examples ever seen. And then placed into auction, where collectors battled for the opportunity to own it. Moments like that remind us why coin collecting is so thrilling. It's not just about old coins from the 1800s. It's not just about silver and gold. It's about history in your hands. It's about possibility. It's about the idea that something small and overlooked can hold surprising value. So, what should you do if you come across a 2016 Lincoln penny with no mint mark? First, don't assume it's valuable, but don't dismiss it either. Examine it carefully. Look at the condition. Check for unusual features or errors. Compare it to grading standards online. If it appears exceptional, consider consulting a reputable coin dealer or submitting it to a professional grading service. Remember, the vast majority will be worth face value. But the rare top-tier example proves that modern coins should never be completely ignored. Coin collecting teaches patience. It teaches observation. It rewards knowledge. And sometimes, it rewards those who take the time to look closely at what others overlook. The 2016 no mint mark Lincoln penny stands as a powerful reminder that even in an age of digital payments and electronic transactions, physical coins still carry stories. They pass through countless hands. They travel across states. They mark moments in time. But what if I told you that a modern coin, a 2017 D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, could be worth far more than its face value? What if that tiny copper-plated coin sitting quietly in your change right now could be the key to an extraordinary payday? Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of the 2017 D Lincoln penny, a coin that might look ordinary at first glance, but under the right circumstances, can turn into a collector's dream. The Lincoln Cent has been a symbol of American history since 1909. Designed to honor President Abraham Lincoln, it was the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real historical figure. Over the decades, the design has evolved, but the spirit of the coin has remained the same, a tribute to one of America's most respected leaders. Fast forward to 2017. The United States Mint continued production of the Lincoln Shield Cent, a design that was first introduced in 2010. On the front of the coin, you'll see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner. His profile face is right, dignified and calm, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty" to the left, and the year, 2017, to the right. Just beneath the year, you'll find a small but powerful letter, the mint mark. For this particular coin, we're talking about the D mint mark, which stands for the Denver Mint. Now here's where things start to get interesting. The Denver Mint struck billions of pennies in 2017. Because of that high mintage, most people assume these coins are extremely common and have no added value. And for the average circulated coin, that's generally true. A typical 2017 D penny found in pocket change is worth exactly 1 cent, but coin collecting isn't about the average. It's about the exceptional. The 2017 D Lincoln Cent is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. It weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. On the reverse side, you'll see the Union Shield design, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single, united country. The shield features 13 vertical stripes representing the original colonies, with a banner across the top reading, "Et pluribus unum." While billions were produced, not all 2017 D pennies are created equal. The true value lies in condition, errors, and rare varieties. Let's talk about condition first. In coin collecting, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from heavily worn to perfect mint state. A 2017 D penny that has never been circulated and remains in pristine condition, free from scratches, marks, or discoloration, can receive a high mint state grade such as MS67 or even higher. At these top grades, the coin becomes scarce. Why? Because even though billions were made, very few survive in flawless condition. Modern coins often get tossed into bags, rolled, shipped, and handled in bulk. During that process, tiny marks and imperfections occur. A coin graded at the very top of the scale by a professional grading service can command impressive prices at auction. Collectors are always chasing perfection, and registry-set competitors are willing to pay premium amounts for the finest known examples. But condition alone isn't the only factor that can make a 2017 D penny valuable. Errors are where the real excitement begins. Mint errors happen during the production process. These can include off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, and even wrong planchet errors. While most coins are produced correctly, a small number slip through with fascinating mistakes. For example, a dramatic off-center strike can leave part of the design missing, making the coin instantly unique. A double die error may cause certain letters or numbers to appear doubled, creating a noticeable visual effect. These kinds of errors are highly sought after by collectors because they are accidental and rare. There have also been instances where modern pennies were struck on the wrong metal planchet. Although extremely rare, such errors can turn an ordinary coin into a five-figure treasure. Another factor that drives value is population reports. Professional grading companies keep records of how many coins exist at each grade level. If only a handful of 2017 D pennies are graded at the very highest level, collectors compete aggressively to own one. Imagine thousands of collectors building complete Lincoln Cent sets from 1909 to present. Now imagine they all want the single finest 2017 D penny available. Supply and demand take over, and prices can skyrocket. It's also important to understand the psychology of coin collecting. Modern coins often don't get much attention at first. But as time passes and high-grade examples become harder to find, collectors begin to appreciate them more. What seems common today can become conditionally rare tomorrow. So how do you know if your 2017 D penny is valuable? Start by checking its condition. Look for sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard. Examine the surfaces under bright light. Are there scratches, spots, or dull areas? Or does the coin shine with original mint luster? Next, inspect it carefully for errors. Use a magnifying glass to check the lettering and numbers. Look for doubling, misalignment, or unusual features. Pay attention to the rim. Is it complete and even? If you believe your coin is exceptional, consider having it graded by a reputable third-party grading service. Professional grading not only confirms authenticity, but also assigns an official grade that can dramatically impact value. While most 2017 D pennies will remain worth just 1 cent, the rare high-grade or error examples tell a completely different story. These are the coins that collectors dream about finding in rolls from the bank or in pocket change. There's something thrilling about the idea that treasure could be hiding in plain sight. Unlike ancient gold coins or century-old rarities, the 2017 D penny is modern. It's recent. It's accessible. That means anyone has a chance to discover one. Coin roll hunting has become increasingly popular because of coins like this. People visit banks, request rolls of pennies, and search through them carefully, hoping to uncover high-grade examples or mint errors. It's a hobby that combines patience, knowledge, and a little bit of luck, and sometimes that luck pays off in an unbelievable way. Collectors have seen modern Lincoln Cents sell for astonishing amounts when they represent the absolute finest known examples or display dramatic, one-of-a-kind mint errors. The combination of perfection, rarity, and demand creates the perfect storm for high auction results. The 2017 D Lincoln 1 cent penny reminds us that value is not always about age. Sometimes it's about quality. Sometimes it's about uniqueness. And sometimes it's about being in the right place at the right time. So the next time you receive change from a store, don't ignore those pennies. Take a closer look at the date. Check for that small D mint mark. Examine the coin carefully. You never know what you might find. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple 1-cent coin, and discovering that this tiny piece of copper-plated metal could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. It sounds unbelievable, almost like a collector's fantasy. But today, we are diving deep into the fascinating story of the United States of America 2020 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a modern coin that has shocked collectors and sparked excitement across the numismatic world. At first glance, the 2020 D Lincoln penny looks completely ordinary. You've probably seen dozens of them without even noticing. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that has been a part of American coinage since 1909. The obverse features Lincoln's calm, thoughtful profile, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above his head, the word Liberty stands proudly. To the right, the year 2020 is stamped clearly, along with a small but powerful letter D, the mint mark of the Denver Mint. Just beneath Lincoln's shoulder, you'll find the initials VDB, honoring the original designer. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the Union Shield reverse design, introduced in 2010. The bold shield symbolizes Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a united nation. Across the top runs the motto E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. A banner stretches across the shield, and below it you'll find 1 cent and United States of America. The design is sharp, patriotic, and full of meaning. Now here's the surprising part. Even though the 2020 D penny is a modern coin, millions were produced. In fact, the Denver Mint struck billions of pennies that year. So how could a coin made in such massive numbers become valuable? The answer lies in condition, rarity within grade, and minting errors. Let's talk about composition first. The 2020 D Lincoln Cent is not made of solid copper like early pennies. Instead, it consists of a zinc core with a thin copper plating. Since 1982, most Lincoln Cents have been produced this way to reduce production costs. The coin weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. On paper, it's just a standard modern cent. However, collectors know that the true value of any coin is not just in its metal, it's in its story and condition. When coins leave the mint, they are in pristine state. But the majority enter circulation immediately, getting scratched, worn, and damaged through everyday use. Finding a perfectly preserved 2020 D penny is far more difficult than you might think. This is where grading becomes crucial. Professional grading companies, like PCGS and NGC, evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-70 is considered flawless under magnification, no visible imperfections, even at 5x magnification. Achieving this perfect grade is extremely rare, especially for coins that were intended for circulation. Most 2020 D pennies found in pocket change would grade somewhere between MS-60 and MS-65 if uncirculated, and much lower if circulated. These coins are generally worth face value, or only slightly more. But when you start moving into the ultra-high grades like MS-67, MS-68, or beyond, the rarity increases dramatically. Why does this happen? Because modern coins are mass-produced at high speeds. Small marks, tiny scratches from contact with other coins, and minor imperfections are common. Very few coins survive in absolutely pristine condition. When collectors search through rolls or sealed mint boxes, they are hunting for that one coin with exceptional eye appeal, blazing luster, razor-sharp strike, and spotless surfaces. Another factor that can drive up the value of a 2020 D penny is mint error varieties. Error coins are created when something unusual happens during the minting process. This could include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, or wrong planchet errors. These mistakes make a coin unique, and collectors love unique coins. For example, a dramatic off-center strike where part of the design is missing can make a common penny highly collectible. A double die error, where design elements appear duplicated due to a misaligned die, can also add significant value. While not every 2020D penny has an error, those that do can command impressive premiums depending on the severity and visibility of the mistake. But even beyond errors, there is something captivating about modern coins reaching extraordinary values. Many people assume only ancient coins or centuries-old rarities are worth serious money. Yet the 2020D Lincoln Cent proves that even a coin from just a few years ago can capture headlines in the collecting world. Imagine a collector carefully submitting a flawless 2020D penny for grading. After expert evaluation, the coin receives an exceptionally high grade, one of the finest known examples. Because so few coins reach this level of perfection, competition among collectors becomes intense. Registry set collectors, who compete to build the highest graded coin sets, may bid aggressively to secure the top example. This demand drives prices far beyond face value. What started as a humble 1-cent coin suddenly becomes a trophy piece, a symbol of perfection in modern minting. The coin's blazing red copper surface, untouched by circulation, reflects light like a mirror. Its edges are sharp, its details crisp, and its eye appeal undeniable. There's also historical context that adds subtle intrigue. The year 2020 was a remarkable year globally. With major world events unfolding, coin production and distribution faced unique challenges. Many people began saving coins from that year as keepsakes. Over time, this emotional and historical significance can influence collector interest. If you're wondering whether you should start checking your change, the answer is yes. While the vast majority of 2020D pennies will remain worth just 1 cent, searching through rolls can be both exciting and educational. Look for coins with bright red color, no visible scratches, and strong strike details. Store them carefully in protective holders to prevent damage. Remember, condition is everything. Even the smallest nick can reduce a coin's grade. Handle coins by the edges, avoid cleaning them, and consider professional grading if you truly believe you have something extraordinary. Cleaning a coin can permanently damage its surface and reduce its value dramatically. The beauty of coin collecting is that it turns everyday objects into hidden treasures. A simple penny can teach you about history, economics, art, and craftsmanship. The 2020D Lincoln Cent represents continuity, a design that has survived wars, economic shifts, and technological changes. It connects generations through something as simple as spare change.